First of all, thank you all so much for joining us today. Our immediate family is extremely thankful for all of you present. However, as you well know, to Grandmama, your family after just one conversation. Although who in the world could leave their relationship with Donna to just one conversation? As I contemplated what to write to sum up her 70 incredible years of life on Earth, memory after memory came flooding back to me. Stories that I've lived and stories that I've heard. But I couldn't help but feel slightly inadequate at delivering these stories because Grandmama was the pro at sharing her life story. As the strangers of King Soopers, Walmart, and Kohl's well know, and I'm sure many of you know, in fact, it's very possible that that's how you started a relationship with my grandmama. But here it goes, and I hope I do her marvelous story justice. Donna Teresa Moore Schaefer was born on September 23rd, 1952, in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, to her parents William Thornton and Emma Jane Moore. She was the eldest of their 4 children and the only girl of the children. The family of 3 grew to a family of 6 over the course of the next 7 years, as my 3 great-uncles were born, Mark, Stephen, and Bill. Raised as an Army brat, Donna moved to incredible places alongside her family, keeping her younger brothers in line under the honorable model of her loving mama and dad, my great-grandparents. She adored her youngest brothers, but had a special place in her heart for her baby brother, Bill. One story that I got the privilege of hearing was a time where she neglected her military strict standards for a few hours when she was babysitting her baby brother, Bill, but just could not miss out on the Grateful Dead concert happening that night. What was her solution here, you wonder? Well, it was to take 12-year-old Bill to the concert with her. Although her love for the Grateful Dead didn't stop there, as it was only 3 years later, at the age of 21, that she met and fell in love with my beloved grandpa, Bruce Edward Schaefer, and became, as he called her, his hippie chick. Together, they continued listening to the Grateful Dead and attended concerts together. This love for music didn't just stop there, but is always related to their love and Grandmama in general. You could always hear her humming a tune of anything all the way from Janis Joplin to praise and worship music. As the Bible says in Luke 6:45, the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. And without a doubt, my grandmama's heart was full of music. Throughout the year of 73, her and Bruce's love continued to grow as their hippie hearts connected. And their marriage followed in January of 1974. Their marriage was bountiful with laughter, which was bound to happen with Donna's sense of humor. One gag that she loved to pull on my grandpa Bruce was to grab his leg, lift it in the air, and sing, "I'm so hoppy, so hoppy." As Bruce hopped around the kitchen, one-legged, giggling. As their love continued, their unity grew into a family with their eldest child, Naomi Ray, my mom, was born January 3rd, 1976. My Uncle Caleb followed on November 21st, 1977, and my Uncle Gabe on November 4th, 1985. Each of her children have fond memories of moving throughout their childhoods as Donna and Bruce's multiple business endeavors and opportunities called. They lived in Texas, Indiana, New Mexico, South Dakota, and Colorado. Most notable of their homes was what Donna called the hippie dream house in Buda, Texas, or beautiful Buda, as the Texans know it. Despite it being a little rough around the edges, with its outdoor plumbing, 2-seater outhouse, and wood-burning heat, the hippie dream house did hold some of my grandmama's favorite memories. She felt blessed to live on her property and care for the land with her husband and baby Naomi, working hard for what they had, and most importantly, bathing in the pond on their land in true hippie fashion. While most notable, the Moss Rock house was actually Grandmama's favorite home, located north of Black Forest, where at this point all 3 of her children were born. My grandmama especially loved this season of life as they owned 5 acres, horses, ponies, and more importantly, made lifelong friends with their neighbors, the Morfords. She experienced awe over their spectacular view of the Front Range, which inspired many of her oil paintings, one of her most characteristic talents and passions. To add to this memorable time, Donna also completed her bachelor's at UCCS that she had begun at the University of Texas in Austin when she was only 17 years old, and a semester of university only cost $100. Her bachelor was in fine arts, and she went on to earn a teaching certificate and master's degree. These academic accomplishments set her up for a wildly successful teaching career. Teaching career starting in the early 90s. However, it was not just her intelligence and keen eye for grammar mistakes that made her an incredible teacher, though trust me, she had both, but rather her adventurous spirit and passionate love for her students. She took her 4th grade students on a trip during the school year to the sand dunes, the alligator farm, and the potato farm, with nights of camping and hot dog roasts. On occasion, she would even invite her students out to the Moss Rock House for pony rides. I've always liked to compare my grandma, or Mrs. Schaefer as her students knew her, to Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus, because truly she would have stopped at nothing to aid her students in learning, but more crucially, experiencing the world around them and loving them in ways that some of them didn't even receive from their own families. During her teaching career, she became a grandmama. No, not a grandma, a grandmama. This title was extremely important to her, as it is what her children called her mama, Emma Jane Moore. And carrying this tradition was vital to her promotion with the entrance of my generation. Her daughter, Naomi Ray Thomas, and son-in-law, Ryan Joseph Thomas, gave birth to her first grandchild, Karina Page, on September 4th, 1997. Following Karina was Zachary Joseph on December 25th, 2000, Emma Brooke on June 8th, 2004, and Jeffrey Samuel Deneau on February 17, 2008. However, she didn't know she would have her grandson Jeffrey until almost a year into his life, when my family learned that her new baby brother actually lived in Peshawar, Haiti. She adored her grandchildren and never missed a chance to bring them up in a conversation with anyone, everyone, anywhere, and everywhere. I know each of my siblings and I have extremely special memories with our precious grandmama, and while each of our lifetimes have memories full of her, some of our shared ones are actually my most treasured. We loved riding around in her plum-colored PT Cruiser growing up, and it was always a fight for who could run out to the car and start it, because she always let us do that, which I thought was the coolest. We grew up getting to experience a few of the houses that she's lived in over the years, like the house on Lonsdale, where her upstairs office was always flooded with rainbows from her crystal figurines that she had hanging in the window. We loved her townhouse, where we could take my Uncle Gabe's dogs, Fergie and Bo, out for walks and playtime, or we could feed her 7 turtles in the backyard that she had at that time. We loved the many sleepovers with Grandmama, where we snuggled up beside her to watch one of the classic movies and get to sip on Pepsi that was only permitted at Grandmama's house, because my mom would never buy pop. We all have dear memories of coming here to this very sanctuary on Sabbath with Grandmama, where we get to draw on her yellow notepad during the sermon on the floor in front of the pew and enjoy a delicious potluck after service with more treats that our parents would probably just And most memorable to me was when my grandmama became my substitute teacher in District 49 and regularly subbed for all of our teachers growing up. You better believe that the entire school knew that we were her grandchildren, and she had the highest academic expectations on us when she was our teacher. She was famous in my elementary school for hosting the shark dissection each year in the school cafeteria, the best after-school science project, and again, tell me she's not Miss Frizzle. Anyways, the list goes on, but what is important to know is that she surely loved being a grandmama, mama, sister, and friend. However, finally and most importantly, she absolutely loved being a daughter of the King of all Kings. Her faith in the Lord is one of the most remarkable that I've experienced in life, and I know is one that has greatly inspired many of us to walk with Jesus and trust in Him for all the days of our life. She instilled in us that everything she had or needed, the Lord surely provided. She taught us to take rest and keep tradition, and most incredible in my opinion, and I'm sure many of yours here today, was the way that she taught us and modeled for us how to be a friend like Jesus was. She chased after the one sheep who was lost, always fiercely loving and staying loyal to the underdog. She stopped at nothing to show compassion for people in their darkest moments and stopped at nothing to celebrate with people in their most joyous moments. When I picture Jesus with his disciples and seeking out the unloved, I can't help but picture Grandmama when she'd strike a conversation with a person in the checkout line at King Soopers, when she drove a stranger who was hitchhiking with me in the back seat, not even elementary school age, and when she used her own money to stock up on hearty groceries for a homeless man while her and her family were on their way to a family gathering. It's just seen time and time again that she wanted to serve others and wash others' feet, not because she was a perfect person, but simply because she wanted to do for others what she declared on high that Jesus had done for her. Her entire beautiful, special 70 long years of life. And this quality, this bold, unashamed love for our Savior, is what I hope we all remember the most about her. Because I know that was her identity, and if you knew nothing else about her, that's what she would want you to know about who she was. A citizen of heaven, an heir of God, a co-heir of Christ, no longer a slave but a daughter, with her treasure right bestowed in heaven. That is who Donna Teresa Moore Schaefer is. Donna, grandmama, mom, sister, friend, has lived a life that I can only dream of hearing. She was the most generous, kind, and bubbly person I've met. She made every stranger a friend and spread seeds of love and kindness everywhere she went, like a wildflower blowing in the wind. Grandmama would go far out of her way to lend a hand, but most importantly, lend her heart. She felt what others felt to the deepest measure, and I strive to understand humans' hurts and joys the way that she did. Grandmama's bubbly, bright nature made her like a magnet that one couldn't resist. Being in her presence was like inhaling a breath of crisp, fresh air. She lit up the room with her bright, music-loving soul and echoing, strong voice. She did so many incredible, unseen things for others, and it is for these reasons that she was one of the most impactful people in my life, and I'm certain she is in all of our lives here. Grandmama was, in the words of one of her favorite musicians, Willie Nelson, an angel flying too close to the ground. Thank you.